flipping through the newspapers, switching through multiple news channels, exploring different websites and online mediums for relevant news? Keeping up to date with important news is not only time-consuming but also requires meticulous upkeep of notes for thorough revision. With a limited period in hand and abundant resources to study from, do not let current affairs come in the way of your prelims success. Join the PT 365 program by Vision IAS and advance in your preparation for current affairs. Starting on 9th January at 5 p.m., this 20-day course offers comprehensive coverage of 1 year of current affairs in 60 hours. Join for improved knowledge with complete coverage of The Hindu, Indian Express, PIB, Economic Times, Yojana, Economic Survey, etc. Doubt-clearing sessions and mentoring for thorough knowledge. Access to Sandhan personalized test with 25,000 plus questions. Access to live and online classes for flexibility in timing. It's time to devote your energy to smart learning and not running. Enroll today and excel in UPSC prelims with a strong command of current affairs.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. Making Corporate Social Responsibility, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code and Environmental, Social and Governance Regulations effective. Union Government notified revised turnover and investment criteria for classifying micro, small and medium enterprises. RBI revises priority sector lending guidelines effective from 1st April 2025. Tackling Black Carbon, How to Unlock Fast Climate and Clean Air Benefits, report released by Clean Air Fund. Supreme Court has set up a national task force to address students' mental health concerns. India completes 10,000 genome sequences of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. In our first news for the day, we explore key takeaways from the 10th report on demands for grants 2025-26 by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, focusing on 3 critical areas: corporate social responsibility, the insolvency and bankruptcy code, and environmental, social and governance regulations. Let's dive right in. First up, let's talk about corporate social responsibility or CSR. The report highlights several issues, including gaps in enforcement and monitoring of the CSR framework, along with insufficient analysis of how effective CSR spending truly is. Adding to this, there's also a lack of transparency surrounding the unspent CSR amount mechanism, which raises further concerns. To tackle these challenges, the report proposes enhancing reporting and monitoring. A more comprehensive framework is recommended to ensure regular publication of detailed reports, shedding light on the outcomes and impacts of CSR projects. Alongside this, timely enforcement of penalties for non-compliance is emphasized as a necessary step to strengthen accountability. Now, let's move on to the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, commonly known as the IBC, a vital pillar for financial restructuring. Here, the report draws attention to conflicts of interest and inconsistent interpretation of provisions, both of which are causing significant delays in the resolution process. Moreover, the existing framework for handling complaints against resolution professionals or RPs is described as weak, leaving room for inefficiencies. To address this, the report suggests streamlining the resolution process by introducing a centralized online portal for direct submission of resolution plans. Additionally, the call for rigorous certification requirements and independent performance reviews for resolution professionals is expected to improve professional standards. Restructuring the Committee of Creditors is also recommended to ensure operational creditors receive adequate representation. Shifting gears now, let's talk about environmental, social and governance regulations or ESG, an increasingly important area for businesses. The report highlights 2 key challenges: the persistent risk of greenwashing, which undermines genuine ESG efforts, and the difficulties faced by small and medium-sized enterprises or SMEs in adopting ESG practices. To overcome these issues, the report proposes the creation of a dedicated ESG oversight body within the ministry to monitor compliance and impose penalties for greenwashing. Furthermore, amending the Companies Act 2013 to integrate ESG objectives into directors' fiduciary duties is suggested to embed sustainability into corporate strategies. Lastly, the formation of independent ESG committees, similar to audit committees, is recommended to ensure unbiased oversight of ESG compliance and performance. By implementing these recommendations, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs aims to build a more accountable, transparent, and sustainable corporate environment, promoting responsible business practices and fostering long-term economic resilience.
In a significant move impacting millions of businesses, the Union government has notified the revised turnover and investment criteria for classifying micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs. This revision, first announced during the Union Budget 2025-26, is set to take effect from April 1, 2025. Let's take a closer look at the changes. Under the revised framework, the investment and annual turnover limits have been expanded across all three categories. Micro enterprises can now have an investment of up to 2.5 crore rupees, up from 1 crore rupees, and an annual turnover of up to 10 crore rupees, increased from 5 crore rupees. Small enterprises are now classified under an investment limit of 25 crore rupees compared to the previous 10 crore rupees and a turnover cap of 100 crore rupees, doubling from 50 crore rupees. Meanwhile, medium enterprises see a significant rise in their classification limits, with investments up to 125 crore rupees, earlier 50 crore rupees, and turnover up to 500 crore rupees, earlier to 50 crore rupees. Clearly, these changes reflect the government's intent to promote growth by enabling MSMEs to expand their operations while still retaining the benefits of their classification. Now, why is this sector so crucial? MSMEs play a vital role in employment generation, with 5.93 crore registered enterprises providing jobs to over 25 crore people across the country. Their economic contribution is substantial, with MSME-related products accounting for 45.73% of India's total exports in 2023-24. Additionally, their gross value added or GVA has risen from 27.3% in 2020-21 to 30.1% in 2022-23. Beyond numbers, MSMEs are instrumental in industrializing rural and backward areas, reducing regional imbalances, and ensuring a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. However, despite their immense potential, MSMEs face several challenges, including infrastructure bottlenecks, issues with formalization, resistance to adopting new technology, limited backward and forward linkages, difficulty in accessing credit and risk capital, and delayed payments. Addressing these challenges is critical to ensuring that MSMEs continue to thrive. To support MSMEs, the government has implemented several initiatives. The Udyam registration portal serves as a streamlined platform for enterprise registration. The PM Vishwakarma scheme aims to uplift artisans and craftspeople by enhancing their socio-economic status. The Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program, or PMEGP, is a credit-linked subsidy scheme promoting employment by establishing micro-enterprises in the non-farm sector. Additionally, the Scheme of Fund for Regeneration of Traditional Industries, or SFURTI, focuses on organizing traditional artisans into collectives or clusters to boost productivity and sustainability. With these initiatives, the government aims to strengthen the MSME ecosystem and address key concerns hindering growth.
Moving on, the Reserve Bank of India has rolled out significant changes to the Priority Sector Lending, or PSL guidelines, set to take effect from April 1, 2025. These revisions, issued under Sections 21 and 35A, read with Section 56 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, aim to enhance financial inclusion and strengthen key sectors of the economy. Let's break it down. Starting with loan limits, several categories have seen an upward revision. For education, individual loans can now go up to 25 lakh rupees, including vocational courses. Social infrastructure projects like setting up schools or installing drinking water facilities can now receive loans up to 8 crore rupees per borrower. Other categories like housing and agriculture loans also see significant enhancements to meet growing demands. Next, let's focus on the green push, renewable energy. The guidelines now allow loans up to 35 crore rupees for renewable energy-based power generators and for renewable energy-based public utilities such as street lighting systems and remote village electrification. For individual households looking to adopt renewable energy solutions, the limit has been set at 10 lakh rupees. Moving on to urban cooperative banks, primary urban cooperative banks or UCBs now have updated PSL targets. The total priority sector target stands at 60%, with sub-targets of 7.5% for micro-enterprises and 12% for advances to weaker sections, ensuring more focused lending support. Speaking of weaker sections, the category has been expanded for better social inclusion. The updated list now includes transgenders alongside the existing groups such as small and marginal farmers, distressed farmers indebted to non-institutional lenders, artisans and individual members of self-help groups or SHGs or joint liability groups. Additionally, scheduled castes and tribes, persons with disabilities, minority communities recognized by the Government of India, and individual women beneficiaries up to 2 lakh rupees also remain covered under this critical category, although the specific women's limit won't apply to UCBs. Let's now break down the new PSL targets and sub-targets across different banking sectors. For domestic commercial banks and foreign banks with 20 or more branches, the total priority sector target remains at 40% of adjusted net bank credit or credit equivalent of off-balance sheet exposures, whichever is higher. The same 40% target applies to foreign banks with fewer than 20 branches, but they're allowed to fulfill up to 32% of this through export credit. For regional rural banks and small finance banks, the target is higher, set at 75%. Agriculture lending remains steady at 18% across these banks, while micro-enterprises must receive 7.5% of the total lending. Weaker sections, a key focus of these reforms, have a target of 12% for most banks, though regional rural banks must achieve an even higher 15%. These revised guidelines aim to ensure credit flows to vital sectors, promoting education, social infrastructure, renewable energy, and financial inclusion for marginalized communities.
Moving ahead, a new report by the Clean Air Fund has highlighted a critical environmental concern, black carbon. The report states that reducing black carbon alongside other super pollutants is the fastest way to achieve near immediate climate gains while also improving air quality, public health, and the economy. But what exactly is black carbon? And why is it so important? Black carbon, commonly known as soot, is a component of fine particulate air pollution, also referred to as PM 2.5. It is classified as a short-lived climate pollutant or SLCP, meaning it remains in the atmosphere for only a few days to weeks. Despite its short lifespan, black carbon has significant environmental and health impacts. Among the world's top emitters, India ranks second, following China. Now, let's understand the major impacts of black carbon. It is one of the super pollutants responsible for nearly half of global warming alongside methane. It also has serious regional climate consequences as it darkens snow and ice, accelerating ice melting in the Arctic and glaciers. In fact, it is estimated to account for 39% of the Yala Glacier's mass loss in the Tibetan Plateau. Furthermore, black carbon disrupts the hydrological cycle by affecting monsoon precipitation patterns in Asia and West Africa, increasing the risk of both flooding and drought. Looking at the sources of black carbon emissions, residential energy usage accounts for the largest share at 35%, followed by forest fires at 20%. Transport contributes 15%, while industry is responsible for 14%. Other notable sources include the energy sector 9%, waste 4%, and agricultural waste burning 3%. Clearly, addressing these key sectors is essential for effective mitigation. Given these concerning impacts, what solutions does the report propose? The Clean Air Fund recommends tackling black carbon emissions in high-risk areas, particularly around the Arctic, by targeting sectors like gas flaring, shipping, and residential heating. Another key recommendation is integrating black carbon reduction targets into national clean air and energy policies, as well as updating nationally determined contributions or NDCs. Finally, implementing coordinated actions on superpollutants such as comprehensive waste management solutions is crucial for mitigating its harmful effects. With these measures, addressing black carbon emissions can bring rapid climate benefits while ensuring cleaner air and better public health.
In a significant move, the Supreme Court has established a national task force to tackle a deeply concerning issue: students' mental health and the rising number of student suicides. Let's take a closer look. Headed by former Supreme Court Judge Justice S. Ravindra Bhatt, the task force has been entrusted with the critical responsibility of identifying the key causes driving students to take such extreme steps. Beyond that, it aims to recommend measures to create a more inclusive, supportive, and healthier academic environment across the country. Let's now look at the gravity of the situation. According to the National Crime Records Bureau or NCRB 2022 report, student suicides accounted for a shocking 7.6% of the total suicides in India that year. Even more alarming is a decade-long trend. Student suicides have nearly doubled, rising from 6,654 cases in 2012 to a staggering 13,044 cases in 2022. Among the states, Maharashtra reported the highest number of student suicides, followed closely by Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Odisha. But what's driving this tragic rise? The report outlines several causes. On the academic front, dissatisfaction, stress, and failure weigh heavily on students. Institutional factors like bullying, ragging, and even discrimination based on political views or religious beliefs further deepen the crisis. Socioeconomic challenges including caste-based discrimination, gender-based discrimination, sexual harassment, and even ethnicity-based bias add to the mental burden. And then there are other contributing factors: financial hardships, and even the growing influence of online gaming. So, what steps have been taken to tackle this pressing issue? Several initiatives are already in motion. The Ministry of Education's Mano Darpan program offers vital psychosocial support to safeguard students' mental health and well-being. Meanwhile, the National Suicide Prevention Strategy or NSPS, launched by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in 2022, ambitiously aims to cut suicide mortality rates by 10% by 2030. In addition, the National Tele-Mental Health Program or NTMHP is bringing the gap in access to mental health services through a 24/7 toll-free helpline. To reinforce prevention efforts at the school level, the draft UMEED guidelines, which stand for Understand, Motivate, Manage, Empathize, Empower, and Develop, were introduced in 2023, focusing on early intervention and comprehensive support. The establishment of this national task force marks a significant step toward addressing the student mental health crisis in India. The goal is clear: to uncover the root causes, recommend effective solutions, and build an education system where no student feels left behind.
In a significant scientific milestone, India has completed sequencing 10,000 genomes of Mycobacterium tuberculosis. This achievement is part of the Dare to Eradicate TB program, a data-driven initiative launched in March 2022 to eradicate tuberculosis. But what is this program all about, and why is it crucial for India's fight against TB? The Dare to Eradicate TB program under the Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology, aims to advance TB research through genome sequencing. A key component of the program is the Indian Tuberculosis Genomic Surveillance Consortium or INTGS. The objective? Well, to sequence over 32,000 TB isolates, helping identify drug resistance, mutation, and improve treatment outcomes. Now, why is this initiative so vital? India bears the highest TB burden in the world, accounting for 27% of global cases. In 2022 alone, an estimated 331,000 people lost their lives to TB, translating to 23 deaths per 1 lakh population. To combat this public health challenge, India has launched several initiatives. The National Tuberculosis Elimination Program or NTEP, formerly known as the Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program or RNTCP, has set an ambitious goal to eliminate TB by 2025. As part of this mission, various targeted schemes have been introduced. The Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan or PM TB MBA supports TB patients and their families, while the Nikshay Poshan Yojana or NPY provides 1,000 rupees per month for nutrition support. Additionally, initiatives like TB Mukt Panchayat and the Tribal TB Initiative focus on addressing TB at the grassroots level. As the world observes Tuberculosis TB Day every year on March 24th, it serves as a reminder of the ongoing battle against this contagious airborne disease. Caused primarily by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, TB can manifest in two forms: pulmonary TB, which affects the lungs, and extrapulmonary TB, which impacts other organs such as lymph nodes, bones, and the brain. With genome sequencing advancing TB research and robust national programs in place, India is making steady strides towards its goal of a TB-free nation. In today's Place in News, we will be discussing Iran with its capital Tehran. Iran's Revolutionary Guards have unveiled new missile systems in the Gulf of Greater Dum, Lesser Dum, and Abu Musa, three strategic islands near the Strait of Hormuz. Let's go over a few key facts about Iran. It is located in the Middle East and borders the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf to the south, as well as the Caspian Sea to the north. It shares its borders with Armenia and Azerbaijan to the north, Iraq to the west, Turkey to the northwest, Afghanistan and Pakistan to the east, and Turkmenistan to the north and northeast. Geographically, Iran is dominated by the Iranian plateau, which features vast deserts such as Dasht-e-Kaver and Dasht-e-Lut. Its major mountain ranges include the Zagros Mountains in the west and the Alborz Mountains in the north. Additionally, some of its significant rivers are Karun River and the Safed River.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Indian Navy has launched maiden initiatives IOS Sagar and AIKEYME, which are aimed at consolidating its role as a preferred security partner and first responder in the Indian Ocean region. Under IOS Sagar, INS Sunaina is being deployed to southwest IOR with crew from India and 9 friendly countries. Recently, Varuna Exercise 2025 was concluded. It is a bilateral naval exercise between India and France located in Arabian Sea, with the aim to enhance joint manship, upholding principles of rules-based maritime order, promoting stability in Indo-Pacific. Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority successfully exported first consignment of GI-tagged Dali chili from Sikkim to the Solomon Islands. Dali chili, also known as fireball chili or Dali Khursani, is renowned for its intense pungency, bright red color, and high nutritional value. Padmaja Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park in West Bengal's Darjeeling has become India's first zoo to preserve DNA samples of wildlife found exclusively in snowy regions. DNA sample preservation was part of Cryogenic Preservation Initiative, which was launched by the park in collaboration with Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, Hyderabad. DNA polymorphism has found numerous modern applications in forensics and medicine. It refers to the variations in DNA segments or genes between individuals. Detection techniques include restriction fragment length polymorphism and variable number of tandem repeats polymorphism. Rushikonda Beach wins back the blue flag tag, which was earlier withdrawn due to poor maintenance. It is the only blue flag beach in Andhra Pradesh and is among 13 blue flag beaches in India. This tag is conferred upon beaches, marinas, and sustainable tourism boats. Union government has expressed serious concern over hospitals for not sharing data on organ transplantation activities with the National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization, which is the apex organization for implementing the National Organ Transplant Program. International Energy Agency published its Global Energy Review 2025 report. Global energy demand grew by 2.2% in 2024, with emerging and developing economies accounting for over 80% of this demand. 80% of the increase in global electricity generation in 2024 was provided by renewable sources and nuclear. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description.